Oh, it's play ball time, huh, Austin?
It is. How was everybody's weekend?
My weekend was pretty low key, man. But actually, it was actually low key. I'm not saying it like we have a guest coming in, so it's time for a little bit of the old sauce. But it was
Leo's weekend starts now.
Exactly, my weekend starts now. I mean, unfortunately there was no baseball going on, which is ridiculous.
Nobody cares about baseball.
Yes, people do care, Danny. But how was your weekend? More importantly, I mean, we like to hear how you relax. I'm always relaxing. My entire week is a weekend. What's your weekend like? Because
there was no filming this weekend. Right. We've got enough videos stockpiled that I can take 2 weekends off. Not really off, just writing, just regrouping mentally. It's important for me. Got to recharge this battery in my brain. This weekend, though, I went out to sushi with my fucking chick.
Wow.
In Westwood, California, Leo. The campus, because that's right outside of UCLA, it has positively come to life since the summer.
Really?
And it is a dangerous place to take your woman, Leo, as I think you understand.
Some studs?
You need, if you're not wearing a pair of Ray-Bans, those darting eyes will get you in trouble.
Oh, the young women.
I'm not talking about the guys taking my chick. What do you think? Come on, take a girl for me?
I honestly, look, if you're a good-looking 30-year-old, no 19-year-old can fuck with you. No. Not even close.
No.
Unless it's
you hear that, Austin?
Unless it's, yeah, seriously, no. Unless it's like the fucking, he's a quarterback of a Division I school. It's like literally only like a small percentage of the college kids can fuck with you if you're in shape at 30. But now if you're a fucking piece of shit, like most of my friends who are fucking really trying to die as much as possible, they look like shit at 30, then you can't pull a 19-year-old. So
do I look like shit at 30? No.
No. You gotta look your best at 30.
I look like an angel. And I sit on this couch and I use my angelic voice to entertain the masses. But Leo, again, the wandering eyes were a problem for me at this sushi dinner.
Did you get in trouble, though? Did she notice?
I got her nice and drunk.
Oh.
And I made sure she was drinking plenty of water. So there were frequent pee breaks on her part. That's the strategy. Because when the girl goes to the bathroom to pee, you get 3 minutes of unfettered ass checking outing.
So you were feeding her drinks and liquids enough.
Waiter, can you top this off for me? No, not the Sapporo, the H2O. Thank you, waiter. And it's at an authentic Japanese sushi place, so they bow to you when you guys can bring you water.
Like, honey, and your pee was a little yellow this morning. I wanted clear. You know that I'm big on your health, honey. And then you made her drink the water.
Los Angeles is a desert. That's why there are sands and palm trees and shit, and why there's always smoke and fire around here.
So was it
you got to be hydrated.
Was it an Asian girl that got your eye? Because otherwise, Leo, I mean,
I think you probably know better than I, because you're a fucking pervert. The styles of clothing the girls are wearing these
days.
Yoga pants. Not even the yoga pants. It's these fucking jeans that come up to here that are up around their navel. And these asses, Leo. When do the asses get so big and juicy?
Girls, they start doing sports-specific exercise just for their asses really early now. There's a thing, I think that women are really working on what's necessary to be attracted to males, which is really their behinds, and then they get titty jobs. But I'm not a fan of the titty jobs.
You hear that, girls?
Yes.
Put down the books, go to Beverly Hills, get your tits done, and do some squats.
God damn it.
Studying ain't for you.
I was here, but the tits, though, the thing, I don't like big tits. I don't. Especially like, even fake tits are fucking kind of weird. Like, what's going on in there? You know what I mean? And then there's when the big boob girls, when they lie down on their backs, it like sags over. It's almost in their armpit. Come on.
It turns into wings like they're on an airplane. Like it turns into airplane wings off the side.
Come on.
Off the ribcage. I love it.
Really? What do you want to do? You want to just put your cock in there? What do you want to do? You want to lotion it up and slide your cock in there?
Leo, there was a chick I fucked. I don't even think I can call her a YouTube groupie because my channel was such in a lowly state at this point. It was June 2018. But this chick who appeared in one of my videos in the background, she got tagged in the video when it came out by a friend I went to college with who knew her. Her and I started talking on Instagram, and she wanted something to do with me for some reason. The two of us met up in San Francisco, California, the night after I filmed the Drink on the Job video.
Huge titties?
H, F, M. A letter past D.
Your fantasy.
This girl she showed up when I was already blacked out, because if you've seen that video, I wasn't drinking Aquafina or Dasani. I was going into places drinking straight Jack Daniels, slugging beers. That is straight tequila, by the way.
Gnarly, dude. But it's
I don't
really
know how you do that.
Just a little sip won't do much to you.
No, absolutely
Just
not.
a little sip to taste it. It's very good. Casamigos Anejo. It's George Clooney's brand. It's fantastic. I'm not even trying to blow it up. It's expensive. I don't say you should buy it, but it is very smooth and good.
Are you getting paid by George Clooney?
No, I'm not. I'm not getting paid.
Plugging his fucking liquor.
I'm sorry about that. Wait, okay, so tell me about your boob fetish again. Come on.
I fucked this girl that night when I was completely blacked out. She was way out of my league for a guy who was marginally employed and had about 3,000 subscribers on YouTube.
But you're 6'3" and white, which really, hell, it goes a long way.
Okay, racist and heightist.
How is that not? That is not racist. That 6'3" white guy does well with any race of woman. It's true. Look at you. I mean,
We
look
are
at your
versatile.
videos.
We are versatile.
You guys are versatile, yeah, and you look like you could take. I mean, it's like, what are the chances that you're actually going to end up being destitute? It's small.
I can, if all else falls apart, go be a doorman in China.
Exactly, and you'd be
The
great.
Chinese, they worship the tall white men.
Oh my God, you could really dominate in China. I mean, the first place we go overseas might have to be the Orient.
Leo, the next morning, though, after the first fuck sesh, I wake up next to this girl, one eye open, then the left. The head starts to hurt, but I'm cuddled up with her, naked on the couch, and these tits just went on forever in front of her chest. It was like rolling hills going off into the horizon. That's how they didn't end. I was immediately hard again, flipped her over, raw dogged her while she was propped up at an angle on the couch. So I got the titties at full hang.
Wow.
If you guys are looking right now, you can. It's the most perfect, because at one point she did lay down on her back, and the titties just looked like Ziploc bags filled with water that were stapled to her rib cage, and they just flopped off to either side.
So you're
that
sleeping,
wasn't
push her down.
into the corner of the couch.
Okay.
So she was still semi upright. I got those things at full hang. At one point, my buddy Tim, he was in the other room with his girlfriend. He came out and he fucking sneaked a peek at those things while she was asleep. She slept with the fucking blanket down too.
Of course, I mean, she doesn't need any heat with those things in front of her chest, huh?
Nor did I, sleeping next to her.
So when you see like big tits, because I'm not a tit guy, so please explain this to me. I mean, look, it's like titties are a plus, a booty is a must, titties are a plus, right?
Ooh.
So when you look at titties, I look at them and it's like, oh, those are cool. They would be fun to play with. I wonder what the nipple looks like. But you look at them and you're like, fuck, I'm hard now. Are you thinking about putting your dick between them? Are you thinking about getting suffocated by tits in your face? Are you thinking about like breasts just hitting you in the face until you pass out? Like, give me an actual, what is going through your mind when you see a nice pair of tits?
When you intellectualize it, it doesn't hold up. Because any pair of titties that exists, I've seen something that looks identical on my laptop screen.
Absolutely.
Gigantic, big, saggy, real tits. Rock hard, big, fake tits. The size of bowling balls. Seen it all.
Grandmother tits that have been suckled on one too many times.
But it's like a hunter who's looking through his scope out in the forest, and he sees a buck with a perfect 8-point rack of antlers. Or he gets a hunter boner.
Gotcha.
I get a hunter boner.
Nice.
I just think, oh, and there's I don't know what it fucking is, dude. It's when you see like a big fucking ass, or when Austin sees a guy with a nice bulge.
Yeah, the bulge really gets him. That fucking, it's not camel toe, it's moose knuckle. When that moose knuckle shows up.
Some part of me fantasizes about being in a cold climate with that girl in a hot tub, both of us shit-faced drunk and on a little bit of cocaine.
Gotcha.
And I just think about those titties flopping around in the water.
And then what do you do with them? I mean, do
You fuck 'em,
Have
Leo.
you fuck them? You titty fuck.
You tit fuck the girl.
Okay, tit fuck the girl is the key then.
And then
Can you ejaculate from titty fucking?
I did it once in my parents' hot tub.
Wow.
With this fat girl named Paige New.
Don't say your full names. God. Haven't you spread enough pain, Danny?
I think I have.
God.
It's a funny last
So now
name.
some poor woman named Paige, who you titty fucked years ago,
Yep.
is going to get some fucking asshole who's going to DM her and say something like, hey, Danny Mullen titty fucked you. They just get right to the point.
Yeah, there's no real need to work up into that if you're a crazed fan and you're looking to harass somebody.
Yeah.
No, I don't think she has any sort of social media is why I feel comfortable saying that.
Nice.
I don't know what it is, Leo. It's an irrational trigger. My buddy
irrational.
fucking and I were in San Diego. We both had girlfriends. Both our girlfriends were in the apartment yesterday. We were looking over the balcony in the downtown San Diego and just looking down chicks' shirts as they walked along the fucking street. Because he's a complete hopeless tit fiend as well.
Oh, wow.
It was two birds flocking together, looking at stuff in girls' shirts.
You know, it's of the tit fiends I've known, they're all a little bit more, you know, I would say a little bit more, they have a tendency to be a little bit more on the crazy side, the tit fiends. Would you say that's accurate?
I would say most people would find me more mentally stable than you. And you're an alleged ass guy.
Why alleged? I'm totally an ass man. That's
There you go.
It's 100% what
I rest my case.
I mean,
It doesn't hold up.
You are, yes, but like, for example, if we looked at our porn history, then who would they say is the one that is less, you know, wrapped in reality or whatever?
Leo has the porn history that he tells me about, and then I'm sure there's another porn history.
No, I swear to God, if I'm being completely honest with you, I mean, yes, I do the teen blowjob, you know. It's always fun to see what happens in there if I'm going to watch porn. Or CF&M, clothed female, nude male, where it's like some strippers getting blown in front of like 30 girls. That's my favorite.
I don't know if we've talked about this on air, but Leo likes to watch porn where a naked guy is hooking up with chicks in front of other chicks.
Right.
And are the other chicks who are spectators clothed?
They're clothed, yeah. It's a weird kind of a dominating. I don't know if I might have been domed once. Like I was I was domed by this stripper one time when I was like 24 years old. We and her friend. They beat the shit out of me. And
in the strip club, or did you bring them to your residence?
I was in a, but I always tell these fucking kids, and nobody ever listens to me, take a junior college acting class. You'll meet a lot of whores, all right? And one of the ones I met was a stripper who wanted to be an actress. And she was a redhead. She had huge tits. I was 24 years old. I was taking this class. She thought I was handsome. So one day, she's drunk after the fucking work. She hits me up to come over.
What time is it?
It's like 1 a.m. Hits me up. It's a great time to be hit up. But she just got off work.
So she was on the prime stripper shift.
Yeah.
That's good.
So she was big time, absolutely.
If it was Tuesday
now she's a
at
casting
11
director. It's
a.m.
weird. Yeah, exactly. So she calls me up and she says, "Hey, come over. Me and my friend, blah blah blah. I forget her name. I remember her name.
Say her first and last.
I will not do that. I will not do that.
Okay.
But anyway, so she hits me up. She says, "Come over," and her friend, they make me start doing stripper moves on the pole they have in their house. So they make me just slowly start undressing. I go from being shirtless.
Did they
to being
make
pants.
you, Leo?
They were like, "You
They
do
made
this."
you?
And they're like, "Do this. We'll thank you later if you do this."
Didn't you already tell us that you found excuses to go to large parties of girls in college?
yeah.
Say you were training for a stripper job,
Yeah.
and basically shoehorn your strip routine into their evening.
100%.
So
lie,
start from the beginning. These strippers did not
really
make you get on the
enjoying
pole. You probably suggested, in fact.
I was really enjoying it. Okay, I was, Danny. I was enjoying it to the max. Anyway,
So when did they start fucking you up?
Yeah, so then after a little while, they started showing me their moves, and then I was completely naked. And then all of a sudden, then they turned me over, and I got like on all fours, and they started slapping my ass.
You were naked?
Yeah. They started slapping my ass incredibly hard. And then one was on the front side and would slap me in the face while the other one would slap my ass, right?
Were you hard?
Yeah, it was hard.
From just the slapping alone?
Yeah. I mean, they were there. One was topless and the other one had her bottoms off, and she was in a thong, and it was really nice. They both were strippers, and they both had great bodies. So they start beating the shit out of me like that for a while. At one point, one hit me so hard in the fucking ear face here, and I don't know what I was doing. I don't know if I was super enjoying it or anything, but it was an interesting experience. One hit me so hard, my ear started ringing. I was like, Jesus, these girls are going nuts.
Yeah.
And then finally,
like you caught a left hook in a boxing match.
Exactly, which I have no experience catching an actual left hook.
We've made progress that you admit that openly.
Yeah. Now, then after a while, they finally just said, "All right, let's turn him over and give him a good time," or something like that. And one gave me a blowjob, while I was like playing with the other one's tits, and then they switched, and then they just like one jerked me off onto the other one's tits, and that was one of my many shady hookups that got that came from the fucking the pool of what? Junior college, which is what you all should do, especially after you graduate college. Go back to junior college. Pretend that you want your education never to end. You know, keep going with it. I think junior college is a great place to meet women, and everybody should be going to a junior college. I mean, honestly, Austin, you should be going to a junior college.
Yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I dropped out of school.
I get it, but like take like dance and acting like once a week. At night. Like
If I ever tried to do that, I'd end up getting sucked into just taking a full set of classes again.
maybe it's fun though, man. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
What do you think? You can just ride off our coattails to get pussy?
Yeah, I got
gotta
laid
make your
last
own-
night, actually, independently, and it was
Wait,
one of the most awkward
I don't believe
sexual
it was
experiences
independently.
of my entire
It
life.
was awkward, huh?
Not really awkward.
Her vagina
just
smelled? What
fucking
happened?
Strange.
Who was the girl?
What
How'd you
did
meet her?
just say?
Did her vagina smell?
Of course.
No. It was very similar to that, though.
Really?
This chick, she's like all right
Asshole
looking,
smelled?
like not like the hottest, but just a random Tinder chick that I hit up like the middle of the night. Her pussy, like, okay, you know how I have like a pretty good bush sometimes and you make fun of it?
Yeah, you're very
This
hairy.
girl was like a fucking wildebeest, straight Bigfoot pussy. I've
Can you
never
show
seen
me your
anything like
pictures?
this. Let me see if I can
We
find it.
can't
Pull them up right now. We're not going to show them to the audience. I'm going to describe to the audience tastefully what she looks like. And I'm going to say her first and last name.
I don't have her.
Well, Austin,
Last
we
name.
know you're lying. You hooked up with her last night.
Well, I mean, I just have her Tinder. I didn't get her social media.
Well,
so I
grab
don't
her
know what name
Tinder
is.
and let me describe a picture of her to the audience.
Okay, give me a minute to find it.
I'm curious about this. I was going to ask Austin if he's a tit or an ass guy, but this is even fucking better.
I'm more of like a overall body shape. There are girls that have big tits and small tits, but they still look like fucking weird. Like if your body just looks weird, I'm just.
So you don't like those like
I'm more into like your silhouette.
huge
You got a good silhouette.
dinner
then
plate
you're
nips?
Attractive.
You're not into the dinner plate nips?
I don't know. Some chicks just got like wide shoulders, and their tits seem like they kind of just sit in the middle of their chest, and they kind of look like troll humans. Their girls are just weird. Fucking
Nobody's
bodies.
too good for you, producer. I mean, nobody's
So-
good enough.
So let me get this straight. You went to go hook up with a Tinder hookup, right? Was it Tinder?
Yeah.
And she had the bush of a 1970s porn star.
She had the bush of some sort of ancient human that we found encased in
Like
ice
she had-
in fucking
Neanderthal kind.
Like she had
Yeah, she had a
never,
Neanderthal pussy.
Like she had never trimmed it.
Austin, here's what's going to happen.
Never. It was like she was like
She
a
didn't trim it
fucking
once.
Pentecostal religious person or something.
Austin, so right now,
Yeah.
can you get up and you turn that light on over there? I think it's probably too dark in here.
Yeah.
And the one light in the room is starting to affect my my night vision. It's making it go on and off. There we go. And then bring me your phone. Let me see what you're doing on Tinder.
Yeah, I
over
wanna
here.
see what's
I
up
want
with
to see
this
his
girl.
profile. We need to analyze his profile. This will be very productive for the young men out there who are no doubt pursuing ass on
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
dating apps right, now.
Right.
Because where else can you go?
You can't do it. I actually did a Patreon thing about that today because it's true. It's a thing. And Danny, I'm sure that you and I know that anywhere you go, you can find attractive women. Isn't that the truth? We have seen women.
Harder in Kansas.
It's harder in Kansas, but you can find attractive women almost anywhere you go if you have your eyes open.
I'm going to find her. So let's find Austin's profile here. I'm going to view his profile.
You should definitely. Have you ever seen that James Charles on Tinder?
Okay, what the fuck is this?
He matched with you? Oh, you should have.
James Charles twice actually.
Dude,
Why-
stop.
why
Match with
did
him
you-
again. What?
Wait, I don't know how to do any of this.
James Charles likes
I
to
don't know
list
either,
himself as a female. That's what some gay guys
Yeah.
do, so that they pop
What
up
the
in straight
fuck
guys'
is
feeds.
this?
Would you fuck James Charles for our entertainment and for some podcast
Well,
stars?
no, he
I
would
thought
go
you
on
were
a
gonna
date.
give like a
What's her
monetary value.
what's her name start with? The letter.
No, we need to look
I
at Austin's
literally
profile.
don't remember.
Oh,
I
his
couldn't
profile?
find her. It should have been at one of the ones at the top, but I think
All right,
she
so we
unmatched
got-
me.
Let me see this shit.
It's not
So,
a bad first
I
picture.
hit girls up with basically the same line every single time.
What's that?
you'll
Was
notice.
hey, what's good?
Okay, I'm looking at Austin's photos right now. They're pretty well shot. He thinks he's hot shit in all of them. Some of these pictures are questionable, dude. You in a tunnel with graffiti on the wall with 1 foot up on it.
He's a
and you leaned
photographer.
against it.
He's a photographer.
Well,
He does
it's
weird
just
shit
I
like that.
only have like those are like all the pictures of me within the last probably 12 years.
This picture screams, I'm big on TikTok and I'm sick.
Just send a limp cockpit to put it on his profile right now.
I'm trying to get to the messages. I'm going to see who he's been talking to.
Put a limp cockpit on his profile though. That's funny.
That is, I'd get banned if you put a limp cock on my profile.
So he opened on Diana with, hey there, hottie, no punctuation.
No.
She
It
actually
works, man.
responded.
That
She
one-
responded.
That one works pretty
You
well.
use hey there hottie all the time.
Here he used hey
because
there
it's
without
too,
hottie.
I don't have fucking time to think of some elegant or creative or funny response
That's
for some
nice.
Yeah,
random
he's gotta
seven
play-
that I'm just trying to fuck.
It's a random stuff that you're trying to
Hey.
fuck. I totally get that, and I totally understand where you're coming from.
If
Yeah.
I'm sliding into a girl's Instagram DM and she's hot, then I'll be a little bit more like.
Can we
fancy with it.
unpack the statement that you don't have enough time to do X? You spend 19 hours on RuneScape a day. You fucking liar.
Danny, what's the scummiest thing you've ever just opened with a girl you don't know?
Oh my God. I am in the process of trying to delete my Facebook because Facebook
It's so difficult.
Facebook was the primary app when I entered my scumbag prime.
Same,
you
man.
understand?
Same.
I got laid a couple of times off MySpace, but I was still a little bushy-tailed high school kid at that point. 2009 coincided with when I went into college, and also it was around the time I started hanging out with the UFC fighter dudes. The shit they would do, this one guy, Matt, called it dirtbag games. Listen, Danny, there are multiple kinds of game. There's gentleman game, there's assertive game, and then there's fucking dirtbag game, okay? Dirtbag game is when you start talking about having a sleepover within 3 sentences. Dirtbag
That's
games
what I do.
when you say something about the chick's titties when you meet her in the supermarket. So I remember I messaged this girl, Sarah, on fucking Facebook one day, and it was just like, hey, and we went to we went to high school together. We hadn't talked in probably a year. She responded, hi, back, and I just said, hey, listen, I think you and I could have some pretty good sex. What do you say about coming over and having a sleepover with it? And I know 'cause, Facebook was the dominant platform. Mobile apps weren't really a thing when I was in college. I graduated college in 2013, and Instagram was just starting to hit its stride, as was Snapchat. Mostly, when you met somebody you liked at a party, you ran home, pulled up your MacBook, and added them on Facebook. So there are countless messages, and especially when I got to UCLA and I started actually getting laid. Dude, I would have the confidence to, and I'm sure Leo's no stranger to these rapey
of course.
tactics.
And so was D'Elia, because he deleted his Facebook immediately when all this shit was going down.
It's a fucking good move.
Yeah, but they still got it because your name still shows up. You're just like in a weird, like, you disappear, but your name still shows up. So it's kind of...
Facebook will make ghost profiles of you even if you don't have a Facebook.
Yeah.
It can use its algorithms based on like your relatives and friends posting photos of you, and then they can like still tag you even if you don't have a Facebook. And then Facebook basically develops a hidden profile of you,
yeah.
even if you don't have one that has your face,
Yeah, Facebook
and your
is
address,
fucked,
and all that
dude.
shit.
But yeah, dude, I have so many things that I did like that in college too when I was 19 years old. Like, yeah, hey, why don't you come over? I'll take my clothes off for you. Or you come over, give me a massage. I always like that, you know. And it didn't look. It's trial and error. You can learn from our mistakes. And again, in your world now, like where kids are getting canceled on Twitter, like one of Nez's buddies, he got he slapped a girl's ass at a party 2 years ago, and this girl then said he has like a decent job now. He was working for like a lawyer, and she had about 250 of her friends email that lawyer about how she was sexually assaulted by the guy that works there.
Did he get fired?
I don't know. I think he did.
I feel like most law firms will smile upon a guy who does that kind of thing. Because
Every lawyer I've ever met seems to be on a lot of cocaine.
cocaine, alcohol, I mean, it's the most dissatisfied profession. I was telling this to people recently. My sister told me that once she pays off her law school debt, she wants to open a fucking bakery or a coffee shop.
Really?
So basically, she's going to have to work for 15 years to pay off the loans she incurred to tread water for 15 years.
What if you...
She just lost 15 years of her life. So it's no wonder they're a bunch of scumbag coke addicts.
Are you going to help her out when you're making that Danny Duncan money?
Yeah, I will.
Really?
Yeah, I never thought of that before, Leo, but I will.
But you will. When you're making that Danny Duncan movie, money, you help her out.
And full disclosure, the amount of asses I slapped at parties is in the triple digits.
I never did that. You know why? Because I was always so large. I felt like women were already kind of like intimidated by like my size and shit. And I never thought like I could get away with that. I never did that. But I still got Me Too. See, so you can't fucking get... I mean, you know, I loved sending fucking gawkbacks when girls were interested.
Yeah.
It was only when they were interested. But whatever.
I'd love to get Me Too, and I need the press. Merch sales will go through the fucking roof. If I
Dude, would you do a Me Too t-shirt? A Me Too t-shirt?
Just me with what? My cock out? Me slapping an ass? It depends what the offense was. And I would have to mimic that in cartoon.
It sucks that they made a sham of serious sexual assault by just making anything a Me
we've
Too
talked
allegation.
about
We've
this.
talked about
Yeah, we
that.
don't
But
need
it
to-
is bullshit, dude. And it's not like we're not advocates of sexual assault by any means.
Speak for yourself.
I knew it.
Speak for yourself.
I know. No, we're
As the
not.
great Louis C.K. once said, rape is bad. Like, you shouldn't rape somebody unless you want to have sex with them and they don't want to. Then how are you going to have sex with them? You got to rape.
Oh, God, dude. Louis C.K. could make like some fucked up shit funny, huh? It's a master at that.
He's a good fucking man. I've been listening to his podcast that he has with his new girlfriend who lives in France. I listened to half an episode. I listened to a quarter of an episode. And I paid for it, so I feel like I should go listen to the rest of them. It doesn't seem like a good match for Louis C.K. She's a hag. She has a spit cup for tobacco. She's trying to quit smoking cigarettes, so I think she like chews some sort of oral tobacco and just spits in a fucking cup all the time. It's horrendously repellent.
It's disgusting.
And she doesn't seem nearly as smart as him because Louis C.K. is a fucking genius. That guy knows so much about everything.
Yeah.
When you hear him on podcasts and you hear his long-form content, you realize how smart he is.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how it's working out. Speaking of how I'm not sure how it's working out, I was talking about the girls that I observed while I was eating sushi with my girlfriend. The table next to us, there was a fucking married couple, Leo. And you see the contrast between these young girls with the jeans pulled up to their navel and the big asses, and them full of life, eyes wide, looking around for potential mates. And then you see this fucking bitch who was probably 39, there with her husband. They had a kid there in a high chair, and it was just fucking over.
Really?
Okay, it is quiet out there in the dining space because isolation and COVID, there aren't nearly as many patrons in the restaurant. I can hear their entire conversation, which wasn't hard because there was no fucking conversation. Dead silence for 10 minutes. They finally say a couple words, and it's with regard to the kids' little bento box that they brought him out because he couldn't eat real sushi. At one point, my girlfriend was talking, she gave me some hypothetical. She's like, would you rather lick Fanjerry's asshole for 10 minutes or
anything?
Or I forgot what the other thing was. It must have been pretty extreme if situation A is licking Fanjerry's ass. But she said that, and the lady shot her a dirty look because she said, because Mia was a little drunk and the kid was right there listening.
Yeah.
But I just thought, like, holy fuck, man. Like, this bitch, her entire time in college and then going through her career life in her 20s and then her early 30s, her goal was to find a husband, have a kid, and reproduce. And now this lady sitting next to us had that, and it couldn't be more clear that she was miserable. Her eyes were dead. I saw the judgment as she watched the hygiened girls walk by with their big asses. It was two different worlds.
Yeah, man. That being jealous of young girls, I feel like it's a thing that's easier. Well, I've seen it in women a lot. I don't know that men are really that jealous of the youth. I mean, look,
We
when
also
I'm like
don't
50,
know.
yeah, when I'm 50,
Exactly.
yeah.
You haven't hit your post-prime yet.
Right. When I hit that time period, I mean, if I look at the youth, I might have some envy, maybe not. I don't know how it's gonna go, but for women, I've seen it be pretty gnarly. Go ahead, what, you fucking son of a bitch?
Your midlife crisis is going to be nuclear in proportions.
You think so?
Yeah, you are going to explode when you're 42.
Well, the thing is, though, but
I get to see Leo
so?
kicking open the front door of his fucking house in a wife beater stained with spaghetti, a bottle of whiskey in his hand. His wife runs out crying after him. And you're, fuck you, bitch. I'm getting out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. I can have any young bitch I want. Get the fuck out of here.
You're going to drive your Ford Taurus to a Lamborghini dealership.
Yeah.
You're going to buy one on credit.
My light savings.
And then you're just going to drive straight to Vegas. That's going to happen when you're 42.
Yep. Look, but you know what? Who keeps me alive? Who keeps me going? Is guys like Jason Statham. It's guys like, even Terry Crews. He's black. Statham is fucking.
You hear that?
What?
As if we were doubting that somebody who was black could keep you alive?
No, I'm saying that Terry Crews, it looks fucking really young, and it has, a little bit. Black people look really great in their older stages. He's 52, and have you seen his body? It's fucking out of control. Anyway, Jason Statham, guys like that, you can still be a huge stud at 50.
Can we rewind that?
A 22-year-old.
Jason Statham, he keeps me going. Something else, I don't hate the blacks. That's what I heard right there. I don't know what Austin heard, but that's what I heard.
All I'm saying is that Terry Crews looks great, and he's a black man. I mean, I don't know. It's more common for them to look good in their older ages. But like guys like that, look, there's a lot, you can stay attractive for a long time. And guys like me, I'm vain. My grandfather, though, was a perfect example of a guy like me. And what he did was he married when he was 50 years old. He married a 30-year-old, and he retired in Puerto Rico for the remainder of his years. He died when he was 84. he was still attractive. I swear to God, he was still good looking. I mean, obviously, he couldn't pull a 25-year-old when he was 84, but he was like a good looking old man. You know what I mean? And it is something to worry about that's why I'm working hard to try to get some kind of education under my belt so that I can be like my acting teacher who says he would love to just, live out his remaining years in a wheelchair. No, not a wheelchair, a rocking chair.
Yeah.
Jesus,
Leo,
a wheelchair.
I'm not doubting you here, but what education
Reading
are you working really hard to get under your belt?
Well, I'm trying to be much more of a reader. All right.
Yeah. How's page 30 of Don Quixote going?
Don Quixote, that is a tough one. All right. And just because you keep fucking with me, I'm gonna finish that book one day.
Okay.
But I have read quite a few books this year. You want the list?
Give me your favorite one and tell me why it was profound in your life.
Dude. This is David Goggins' book. It was good.
What
It
about To
pumped
Kill a
me up.
Mockingbird?
To Kill a Mockingbird? No, that's not my favorite book. To be honest, I just said that because I was nervous and you were being mean to me that day. But the truth is, The Alchemist is my favorite book. The Alchemist is my favorite book. All right, and it's for obvious reasons. It's all about following your heart.
I haven't read The Alchemist.
It's a good one. You'd like it.
No, I'm just fucking. You made it sound like you were getting some sort of night school education.
No. I know there's much more to life than being attractive. I really enjoy that part of my life, though. So I do wonder what happens. Marlon just texted me. He's probably here. I do wonder what happens once you grow old and you don't have that anymore. So I would love to be, but marriage doesn't seem that appealing anymore. It doesn't seem like that's the path to happiness. So I'm a little worried, and that's what I'm going to look for the answer in the books.
I've got a video idea. Leo's been telling me that he's got a makeup guy who can give us old man makeup for $1,000. Leo's getting in it. He's going out to a bar at daytime, and he's going to see if he can get laid.
Oh, my God. That sounds amazing. But you got to do it with me. Can you be my wingman?
Yep.
An old wingman.
Yep.
Oh, I got it then. If you're my old wingman, I got it, dude. We're gonna tell war stories.
This sounds fucking juicy.
Wait, time out. Were we in the war together?
We tell war stories already when we're not in makeup, so it seems logical we'll do it when we're old.
What war were we in?
Well, I think we can stretch back as far as World War I. I mean, we've gone to World War II as it is.
We're 98 years old, dude.
World War I, you have to be like 112 at this point.
You got to be so old. All right, let's see if Marlon Sims.
No, World War I, you have to be like 120, right? There are no World War I survivors left, and World War II survivors are disappearing at a rapid pace.
I think we're down to just one.
All right, should I
just lost our
should I go get
last what?
I'm gonna go get
World
our
War II
guest.
survivors.
You're incorrect. There are still hundreds of thousands, but it goes down by about 100,000 every year. I've looked this up. Yeah, grab him.
I'm gonna give him a drink. I'll bring him in.
Great, I get a piss too. Yeah, Austin, I looked it up. So the last World War I veteran died, 10 or 20 years ago, and then World War II. We had a lot of them until about 10 years ago. But if you think about it, we got into World War II when? Like 1939 is when we hopped in. So that's
early 40s.
That's what, 79 years ago? 80 years ago? I can't do the fucking math right now, but you had to be 18-ish, somewhere a little lower. So, I don't know. What am I saying? You're like in your fucking late 80s or 90s. There aren't that many of those guys left. Plus, they were heavy drinkers.
My great-grandfather was one of the ones that lied about his age at 16.
When was he born?
I don't know the year. I just know he was 16 in World War II whenever he fought in it. And then he got captured by the Japanese and was locked in a POW camp.
Oh, this has been a very precise study of age in World War II. I'm sorry. I wish I could figure this out quicker in my head. Math isn't my strong suit. It's late in the day, though. We have our guest coming in.
My man.
This place is awesome. You have a podcast studio.
Yeah.
That's right, baby.
Sort of.
Balls.
We have a half-assed...
Hey, do the podcast shirtless, dude. Fuck it.
Wait, are we on TV?
Yeah.
Start rolling right now.
It's rolling, man. We got that camera on you, baby. Yeah, do it shirtless. That's hilarious.
Look, I don't know if Israel can tell out there in La La Land, but it's probably close to 90 degrees, 95 degrees in here.
Yeah. We don't have the air coming all. They don't have air conditioning in here. It's one of those old.
My issue is that I'm a sweater, so I
feel you.
every time since the age of 16, my body goes, oh, it's over 90 degrees. We're cutting weight, so I'll just go ahead and sweat profusely for you for as long as you are.
Marlon,
There we go,
Let me
bro.
give you a little intro. Marlon Sims is the last name, right?
Yes, sir.
Marlon Sims is a UFC veteran, and I know Marlon for being involved in the most legendary moment of the reality show, The Ultimate Fighter history. the backyard brawl that we actually... I was nervous. I didn't think we could play it on here because Zuffa are fucking dicks, and I figured they would take it down. But there's a clip of the brawl in its entirety that's been up for 10 fucking years on YouTube.
Yeah.
I see no harm in letting it play out. People, if you're listening to this on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, click over to the YouTube channel and take a look at this. You won't regret it.
You guys want me to set it up for the people that
set it up.
Even if you've seen it, it's I mean, you know, they take a 1 week worth of footage and then edit it down into an hour. So prior to this, what you don't see is that there is a magic list on the TV show that all the fighters get to sign every morning. So you wake up in the morning and whatever you want to eat for that day, you write the magic list, and they tell you during the show from day one, anything you want, anything you order on that list that's legal is going to show up no matter what it is.
Wow.
Lobster, filet mignon. Wow. You know, I am and was then a huge foodie. So I'm getting prime cuts of center filet mignon and lobster.
Wait, what does that have to do with this brawl, though?
That morning on the magic list, I requested a bottle of Casadores Reposado.
And let's set, Marlon, I think we should probably even back up a little bit more. I think a good amount of our fans will know what this show is, but if you don't, The Ultimate Fighter was a reality show that basically put the UFC on the map. Before that, the UFC was doing shit like it could only fill its arenas to 40% capacity. They were putting in statues of gargoyles and ramps and fireworks to make it look legit. They were losing money every single show. They were on the brink of bankruptcy. But then the first season of The Ultimate Fighter came around. Forrest Griffin fought Stephan Bonner. Everybody told anybody who saw it, word of mouth, multiplied the viewership by like 5 from the start of the fight to the end. The sport of mixed martial arts had arrived in the mainstream.
Yeah.
5 seasons later, Marlon was on it along with Nate Diaz, and I personally think this was the best season.
Thank you.
The coach drama was excellent. Jens Pulver and BJ Penn actually hated each other.
Yeah.
They allowed alcohol, like Marlon partook in. Still, after this season, everybody wanted to be on a fucking Wheaties box and get a Nike sponsorship, so they were drinking smoothies.
Yeah.
This is when men were men.
Yeah.
And men fought in the fucking UFC. This was my favorite fucking season. This is the pinnacle moment. Austin, if you fuck this up right now, I'm going to have Marlon come over and kick you in the face. He does it right here. You're going to see his high kick. It's nasty.
Shit.
That's great.
Let's go.
Yes.
Fight. This is fucking awesome.
So Noah, the Red is his nickname. This dude is 23 years old. He's a Marine sniper. He lives in Colorado. The only time he's been in Colorado in his entire existence was to go to Korea to train for 2 months. Wow. This kid knows everything. And when I tell you he knows everything, I mean,
I'm not getting kicked
he
out.
knows everything. There's no convincing him otherwise. Regardless if you were there, you saw it. Are you ready? Regardless if you're 10 years older than this kid is at this time, which I am.
I'm gonna wait. All right, let's go.
All season called me a liar, told me I was a fake, told me I couldn't do shit, told me that he could knock me out, break my arm, tear it off, and beat me to death with it.
Jesus.
And he's such a insignificant worm. I drank this half bottle of tequila, and he's sitting next to me, and we're at the fire, and Nate knows I hate him. And Nate's like, "You're drunk enough? Good. All right, talk some shit to Noah." And he's sitting right next to me, so I say, "Yeah, you're a punk. Nobody likes you. Everybody hates you, and I already called you out for the finale. I'm gonna beat your ass." And he's like, "Well, you know, if I had my way."
Yeah.
I'd tear your arm off and beat you with it. I said, okay, well, where I come from, and after being on the show with you for 10 weeks already,
Look at you, bro.
I'm sure wasted. That's white boy wasted.
White boy wasted.
So also, I've talked about street fights. I've been getting into at this point how I like to utilize my environment. He's searching me for full I don't know if you saw right there, but while he was trying to find the guillotine, I spotted the concrete.
You spotted the concrete.
Dropped him on the concrete. That's why this episode is named Not on the Concrete, because that's all I do. I go, okay, this motherfucker wants to do jujitsu.
I stopped.
There you are, bro.
I'll take him to the hard concrete and see how he likes it.
That's right.
And then then another cheap shot. So the first time you hit me, guys, my eyes are closed, my hands are in my pocket, my head's turned to the side, and I just say, go ahead. So that's cheap shot number 2. And at this point, they edit. So
And Marlon, they're actually getting the audio right now. They're going to have the audio. Yeah.
He used to draw
I just realized that Marlon doesn't have headphones, so he couldn't pick. He wasn't hearing that.
sorry.
No, no
It's all
problem.
good. I liked it.
Dude, this needs to be played in its entirety. This is a great goddamn moment in reality history.
Yeah, you know, after what they're not showing right here is there's a break in the action, and I actually walk back into the bathroom, and I see that I'm bleeding, and I literally say out loud, "Nobody makes me bleed my own blood." And I come walking back outside, and I stand in front of this motherfucker.
Oh,
It just dropped.
are you?
Slippery. It's middle of winter.
Right.
On some very, very slippery kind of, groomed rock. So there's no footing whatsoever. And right now he's having for
There it is. Oh.
the brutality of it all.
Guess what happens when somebody takes guard?
There it is.
Dude.
So, Marlon, we're going to resume our audio now.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good opportunity. I don't know if you want to say anything about that fight.
Yeah, I do, because there's editing is all nice and stuff. There was a break in the action there. It was like 2 rounds basically, and after I'm banging his head on the grass and I'm ground and pounding him, I realized that we're on national television. And it all comes full circle, because when you're wasted and you get hit and you all of a sudden the fight happens. I don't know if anybody out there can understand what I'm talking about, but the adrenaline dump is so much more excessive,
Right.
Because your blood is thinner. You're like, it comes on all at once and you gas quick. Like all of a sudden it just hits you and this wave comes over you and you're like, oh man, okay, I'm tired. So at that point where I'm on top of him and I'm punching him, it all kind of hits me and I realize, wait a second, oh my God, I'm on TV, and why hasn't anybody stopped me? Why isn't anybody, this dude just cheap shotted me twice.
Right.
So in my head, I'm like, into the producers out loud, I'm like, why isn't anybody stopping this? This dude just fucking cheap shotted me twice. I'm realizing this dude just cheap shotted me twice, and you guys are just leaving me out here to deal with it. Okay. So I know that the producers are on the other side of this wall 10 feet away, and I know they're all in the house, and there's 10 cameras on me. So I'm looking at all of them and nobody's doing anything. And that's when Nate's like, all right, calm it down. I excuse myself and I go to the bathroom. When I walk into the bathroom, my lips cut, and I can see the welt over my eye from where he decked me without gloves on and stuff. And I'm just like, fuck that. And I walk back out there, and he's like, bro, dude, I'm fucking sorry. And he sticks his hand out, and I look at his hand, and I'm like, no. Nate's like, all right, look, you cheap shotted him twice. Are you guys cool? And I'm like, in my head is, no, I'm not cool. No. He reaches his hand out, and I'm like, no, fuck you. And what you guys don't get in the audio, and this was on my original DVD, is when I knock him out and he's falling like a brick when I starched him, I yell out, "Pride rules, bitch."
Yeah.
As I kick him in the face.
Way.
Yeah, soccer kicks, knees to the head. It's all good.
So I yell out
shit.
as I'm going down, because I've done this a million times. I've knocked people out and followed up in Muay Thai. As, you finish when they hit the ground. So he's hitting the ground. I wake him back up with that round kick and bounce his head off the concrete. And I yell out, "Pride rules, bitch." They cut that because they didn't know Pride at that time, and they could have got sued. So you guys don't get to hear that audio. But that audio is classic. My boys in Sonoma picked it up when they played the original preview clip of it, and they had it on video before they were told by the network you can't say that. So I have that originally, but that's something you guys don't hear, is that "Pride rules, bitch." Yeah. And then when it's over, when he verbally taps to me and he stands up, his head he's got like a 3.5-inch gash over the back of his head. Yeah. You can see the blood already on his shirt from kind of like a squirt from just that instant he came off the ground. Yeah. But they show the next clip, and his head's just, you can see his skull for like 3 inches.
That's the danger of rolling for an arm bar on the concrete.
On concrete.
That's maybe that's a good direction to go with this right now is if we give a little bit of a street fight tutorial for the audience who knows nothing.
Right.
And I would say that rule number 1 is don't go for a triangle choke or an arm bar on concrete. But Marlon, I'm a purple belt in BJJ.
Yeah.
I've actually won a street fight jumping guard in a parking lot.
Yeah. Sure. See, the problem is that there's just too many uncontrollable circumstances when you give up high ground and go to your back. You don't know how many people are on his side. You don't know what the friends are in the background. You don't know who's got your back. You don't know who of your friends is proven who could run, who's going to actually have your back if you need it. So in my experience with over 300 street fights up in Oakland and San Francisco, Norteños, Sureños, white boys, African Americans.
I saw you outside a bar in San Francisco once too.
Yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday. I think it was the Broncos versus the fucking Panthers or some shit. It was outside the bar Tipsy Pig in San Francisco. I was a bouncer there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that.
Dude, the Tipsy Pig is still to this day one of my dear hangouts. I tossed a man outside of the Tipsy Pig, and I don't know if you remember this.
I got a story.
And I don't know if Leo is laughing about this,
You
but this
told me a little bit
dude,
of a
he told you
story,
about it.
yeah.
Okay.
You told
so
me.
for everybody out there in the land that doesn't believe any of my street fighting stories, this is just another one of these stories that hundreds of people witnessed. You guys didn't, so you don't believe it, but that's fine. These are for all my friends out there. Like I said on the show when I was telling my stories, the same for any of you in the house. This is for my boys back home who remember it. Mm-hmm. So the Tipsy Pig, there isn't really a security crew. There's a guy checking IDs. Who's got a little training.
The security crew.
Little training was you.
It was me and my buddy Kyle, who was also a purple belt.
Yeah.
And we choked a few guys out there too.
Yeah.
But if we knew you were Marlon and I knew who you were, I would have never fucked with you. Like you could have come out of the bathroom with a switchblade and done your worst, and I just would have been hands off on that. The only guys I put my hands on were yuppies. But continue.
Yeah. Well, everybody at the Tipsy Pig and Mamacita, all the 415 boys, Ambassador, all of those clubs, all those restaurants up in San Francisco, all those guys were my friends. They were all knew the owners of Lake Colonial, where I worked for 12 years. And
as a bouncer?
No, I was a server. I was a server. I'm a sommelier, level 1 sommelier, and very high end fine dining server.
I got roots in fine dining in San Francisco too, baby. Jardinier, you know that restaurant?
Are you kidding? Jardinier?
That was the worst job I ever fucking had. Worst job I ever had. I was a runner there.
Yeah,
in San Francisco when I was 24.
Man. French chefs, French restaurants, they're hard to deal with, man.
That's why you got that beautiful girlfriend. Somalia.
Yeah, I don't think
about wine.
I don't know. People probably don't know about this, and I've never really had somebody that I can talk about this with. But when I worked in that French restaurant, Jardinier, it wasn't uncommon to see the chef with a line cook by his lapels, screaming in his face.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like shit you see on like a Southern football locker room, a coach yelling at a punter who fucking kicked the ball out of bounds. Like that kind of shit. The fucking chef, the first day, I tried to pat him on the back. He yelled, "Don't fucking touch me." And was screaming in my face. It was a complete blowout, and I was trembling on the verge of tears. My first shift.
Yeah. Wow. There's notorious French chefs in San Francisco that are just the worst humans on earth. There's a restaurant called Aqua, and the chef that was there at Aqua was known for picking fights with employees and staffers. Jesus. And a lot of the chefs that worked for him, left very unhappy and opened very successful restaurants on their own in San Francisco. So I mean, that's just part of the game. Nowadays, that stuff doesn't happen with the Me Too and the correctness of everything is cameras everywhere. Chefs are now much more polite, and it's a lot easier to work for them nowadays.
I wish I was there.
But going back to the Tipsy Pig,
there was there too.
We're talking about a good old Irish watering hole in the middle of San Francisco's richest part of town in the marina.
Yep.
And you have a very fun crowd of yuppies and Stanford and UCLA grads.
Yep.
And, that's the crowd, young and beautiful. Yeah. There was a time there at night, and I knew all the bartenders, and they fed me 1940 until I was happy, and never charged me.
How many shots does it take to make Marlon Sims happy?
Right now, one. Now one. Before 3 years ago, a bottle.
Wow.
Now one.
Yes, sir.
But in this particular instance, and this is why, this guy pins a girl up against the wall and starts making out with her, and she just kind of collapses in shock on the ground, and there's nobody there to do anything about it because it's a Saturday night. You guys out in front are dealing with 25 people wanting to come in, and this goes completely unseen. And this is where, you know, I call myself a superhero street fighter. This is where I come in, and this is what I've done my whole life. I see things like that, and I don't let them go.
Yeah.
I
Most people would let him go. Yeah.
yeah, and I can't do that. I just see it. My blood boils. It's like Jenny, you know, when she got slapped. I always think about Jenny and Forrest Gump when she gets slapped. When Forrest, it just, and it's just rage.
Marlon, this might be a strange time to announce that it was actually me that shoved that girl against the wall.
Yeah, it was.
That was me.
Well, your face still looks normal, so I'm gonna say no, it wasn't.
It wasn't
like
him.
literally, this is one of the mishaps of things that I've done in my life that I didn't even mean to. So I just walk up to this guy and I grab him by the lapel, and he's trying to get me off his lapel, and I'm just holding him. It's like, you're very lucky. This is all you're getting. And I take him outside, and I tossed him to the left where the sports bar is.
It was also, there was a little nook there that I used to finger chicks in.
Yeah, exactly.
I've told people that on prior podcasts.
The bar manager who works there, the tall blonde kid that works there, actually lives in that building now.
Kyle, is he the bartender?
Kyle,
Look at that. Common ground. We
Right.
know the bartender.
right? So
Yeah.
he lives right there
Yeah.
in that gate. The last time I went up to SF 2 years ago, he's like, "Come over," and we literally walked out the door, turned left, opened that door, and went
Yeah.
upstairs. So in front of that sports bar, there was a tree that had been cut down, and there was just a huge stump. 20 feet away that stump is. This dude is so wasted. I go outside and I'm like, get the fuck out. And I toss him to the left. And it's like this comedy of errors where there's lots of people out there and everybody's watching. We're all doing the same thing. I toss him. The dude's so unsteady. He stumbles, and then he tries to catch himself, and then he falls, and he gets up and he stumbles some more. And he's heading right for that stump. And in my brain, I'm going, you know, he's going to hit the stump, isn't he? Yeah. And slowly but surely he makes his way over and then trips at the perfect time and goes headfirst into this stump. And that stump peels his face off. And it was so frightening because it, like, blood just started to spew everywhere. And for weeks there was trails of blood all over. And I mean, this was, you know, 10 years ago or 12 years ago. So I'm walking around with my video phone, as bad as it was, like the next couple of days, and videotape the aftermath. But that dude hits the stump and everybody turns around to me and they're like, "You killed him." Like, I was like, I didn't do anything to him. I pushed him out the door 20 feet away, and the dude stumbled and fell into that. Well, everybody got their phones out. They called the cops. Kyle comes outside and he's like, "Look, man, we know you didn't do anything, but that looks like you murdered somebody. Get the fuck out and we'll cover for you." So I ran up the road to my boys at the Matrix, who I train everybody at the Matrix, everybody across the street at the Balboa. So Lance, Scott, all the boys at Balboa. Hi, how you doing? If you hear this. And I go over there and I hide out while the cops swing around, you know, trying to find the bad guy.
The
And
bloody guy.
The bad guy who threw the bloody guy. Right?
Oh, that you. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm the bad guy now. So it cools down and I go back over there and I'm hanging out again. But that was like an everyday occurrence. I was every weekend in San Francisco, or if I was in Alameda or Oakland or the South Bay or San Jose. No matter where I went, there was something happening where somebody would be getting messed with or fucked with in some way, and everybody just turns a blind eye. And I'm like, no, I can't deal with that.
I got a story of a fight in the Tipsy Pig when I was on the clock, and the guy didn't do anything as egregious as shoving a girl up against the wall and making out with her. I guess this guy was a regular client who came in there all the time, every single Sunday. Super polite, tipped big, didn't even leave a mess at the table. But this time, I guess he was really high on prescription medication. He'd taken too many, and he's going nuts. He's calling the bartenderesses whores. He's like shoving clients. He's like a 5'2" Asian guy. But the other security guy I was working with, I'm not going to say his name, brings him outside by the back of his jacket. The other guy I was working with trains Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too. Yeah. I grabbed the little Asian man by the wrists, and the other security guard applies a rear naked choke.
And
So the guy had no means of tapping or defending himself, and he was choked out right there in front of the Tipsy Pig.
Yes.
Just like went to his knees at the doorway while 25 horrified yuppies looked on.
Yeah.
And then afterwards I was like, dude, that looks really bad. What we're going to say is that he wasn't unconscious and that he fell to his knees and submitted, and you released the choke at the precise right time. Because I guess, Marlon, my dad's a judge. Yeah. He says when you choke somebody unconscious, it qualifies as great bodily injury on the law books. Yeah. Huh. So it's every bit as bad in the eyes of the law as if you curb stomp somebody or took a hammer to the side of somebody's head, which we know training jiu-jitsu, it's not that bad. It actually doesn't hurt them. But in the end, the police didn't know we choked him out, and all was fine. And I think he went to detox in a hotel room or a medical bed, hospital bed.
And most people that get choked out like that don't actually even remember that it happened.
Yeah,
it's like a loss of memory.
Just loss of memory for a second.
Yeah, wow. And that's why it's why rapists. Mm-hmm. There are mixed martial artists who have been accused of that use of that choke for rape, and I think we know who I'm talking about.
Me?
No.
Or Lloyd Irvin?
A guy with the last name of Miller.
All right.
And
Jason Mayhem Miller?
Yeah.
He raped a chick?
Well, apparently many.
With that move?
Choke. Yeah, but there's that loss of there's that loss of memory that goes along with it. There is that did he or did he not? But yeah, he was tried. He was.
Ooh, I didn't know that. Yeah. Jason Mayhem Miller is one of the horror stories of the MMA community.
Yeah.
He was the Ryan Sheckler, the Nigel Houston of MMA. He was the poster boy. He had a TV show called Bully Beatdown that was on MTV. And he was funny back in the day. I used to watch his YouTube vlog series that existed before there were YouTube vlog series, pretty much. He was on it. And you think CTE got to him? He seemed to have a good relationship with his dad, so I don't think it was child abuse. It might have just been mental illness and a lot of head trauma. But yeah, they found him naked in front of a church, and then now he's using the Mataleo to rape girls. That's just a really sad fate.
Yeah, it is a combination of not being able to handle fame, getting famous too fast, getting too much money too fast, and then thinking that you're above the law.
Pace yourself over there, Austin.
Yeah. Pace yourself, Austin.
This guy, he's our fucking producer, makes $38 an episode. He's already trying to fuck girls on Tinder all the time.
Oh my goodness.
Saying, I produced the Leo and Danny show. I'll get an 8.5-inch dick. Cool your jets,
relax,
bro.
Austin.
Wow.
But it's funny because
8.5 inches. That's impressive.
Yeah, no,
so
he's
he
got a big
says.
cock. So he says. Marlon,
Danny
we don't
likes
know.
to add a half-inch every time he brings up my dick.
I've seen this thing limp, Marlon.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't look any different than the ones you saw dangling around the high school locker room.
All right.
It looks completely typical.
That doesn't
And I mean the ones you saw yesterday.
Yeah. So me and Marlon actually he's my Instagram friend. He's my buddy in real life because we did a stunt job about 4 years ago. Yes. So it's funny that it's come full circle and he knows Danny, but I met him 4 years ago.
We met on a curb drunk in San Francisco. I don't know Marlon, but I shook his hand and I made a joke about I'm definitely not going to try to armbar you from bottom tonight. And you came out and I remember you were front kicking a parking meter.
No, it was with my shin. That's my party favor is I shin kick parking meters.
Jesus.
Really, really hard to freak the fuck out of people. And I don't kick them with the bottom of my foot, my bare open shin. And there's I have an Instagram post where I do that in a suit. But
I want to see that, dude.
Yeah, I like back in San Francisco, I took a party after 10 years of kicking the same parking meter behind my restaurant, Le Colonial. I after a period of time, it started to crack the concrete, and then it actually made it loose enough where I pulled it out of the concrete, and brought it into the restaurant.
Oh, yeah.
And like after 10 years, and everybody I worked with was like
cheering.
Yeah, they're like, "Are you fucking crazy? That's like the city property. You're gonna go to jail. You're gonna get busted." And I was like, "That's what you guys take away from this?"
Yeah, I know. That's a legendary thing I just did, man.
Fucking 10 years taking this thing out of the concrete with my own shin. You sons of
my own
bitches.
shin. That's funny.
Yeah.
But it was a cool stunt job that we did 4 years ago. Yeah,
That
we
was
did a gnarly
blast.
stunt, dude.
That was a blast.
What
That was
happened on the
so
stunt
much
job?
fun.
Well,
What did you guys get up to?
I was doubling. It was a WWE
was
video
the world
game
champion.
promo. Yeah, and I was doubling this guy Seth Rollins, and I threw him into a glass case. It was like a glass box, basically, and
It contained the world title belt.
Right, contained the world title belt, and we only had one take to do it, and he fucking nailed it. but he had to give up his body. It's something that for him, I mean, obviously after all the street fights and the UFC and shit, this wasn't a big deal, but it was an impressive thing to see on set. He actually got a standing ovation from everybody on set.
What was hard about the stunt? I assume the glass wasn't real glass.
It wasn't real glass, no.
But
I'll tell you the whole setup for it and why it was so difficult. So we had a breakaway box. It was a 3.5 foot square box, and it had been supposedly cut for a top impact, which means it's a breakaway box, which means that when I hit it, it's supposed to give way.
Right.
Underneath it, there's a lot of padding, and that makes the fall a lot easier to absorb. So it looks brutal, but there is no brutality to it. It's just an acrobatic move to get there. So the setup is that on camera, it looks like Leo arm throw hip tosses me like 10 feet into the air onto this 6.5 foot tall glass that's on top of this apple box that contains the WWE belt. Now, if you guys played WWE 2016 or 17, whatever it was, this was the intro video to the game. It was like a 3-minute movie,
right,
where I play a security officer, and Seth Rollins is coming into the studio that houses all of the old great memorabilia for the WWE. The Kane's mask, what's his name's baseball bat, the coffin of the Undertaker, all of these things that are housed in this warehouse. And this dude in a mask comes in and destroys everything, lights it on fire, tons of pyrotechnics, explosions. It was a huge production.
Yeah, it was a huge production.
So I'm the security guard, and I see smoke, and I come outside, and we videotape this fight scene where I give a good fight to this massive individual. I mean, Leo's bigger than Seth is, and he's the double, and these guys are giants, and we do a fight scene, and then they throw me as the final scene through the belt case, the epic last treasure. So to sell the stunt, which is what we call the act of doing the stunt, to sell it, to make it look real, I have to launch myself off what's called an apple box, which is something that you jump off of to make it look like you're getting thrown higher, jumping higher than you possibly can.
Okay. Right.
And because Leo isn't Superman, he can't actually with one arm throw me 12 feet through the air.
Right.
I run up to the apple box, launch myself. He goes through the motion of the throw, and I actually throw and flip myself in midair onto the box to land on the box so that everything can break and crush away, right? And that's the stunt. And we only get one shot at this because Hugh Dowd O'Brien, the president of the Stuntman Association.
Yeah, he's big time.
Big time, right? For 3 days, he's been saying, don't even put your phone down on this box. It will break. Don't, everybody comes near that. Get away from that box. Right? So he's like, that's it. It's up to you now. We had one shot at this. This is what it's all leading up to. All the people in standby, they say go, and I go. And execution is perfect. I feel it. I let myself.
I see you're feeling it right now. You're there, man. You're there.
He's there, dude.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I let myself limp, and I go through the glass, and then I hit this box.
Oh God.
And then it becomes apparent to me that the breakaway box wasn't a breakaway box.
Yeah, they didn't score it right.
It did not break.
It fucked him up, dude.
Oh man! So I hit this box prone on my back. Right,
it's a normal stunt thing.
Your head hit it,
and my body hit center
spine,
on the box. So my head is on one side, my legs are on the other.
Right.
So hyperextending the opposite way of your spine that it's supposed to, because I'm landing on my back. It's not a flat.
How much
surface.
extra did they pay you because the box didn't break?
Did you get I hope you got a good little bonus for that.
Dude, I got nothing.
Oh
and,
my God.
And by the way, I got yelled at by Hugh Dowd O'Brien.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
So check this out. So I hit this box, and they have the scene set up in a certain manner so that once that happens, I have to finish the scene. I got to crawl to this firebox and hit it so that everybody comes, and then my scene's over. So this isn't the end of my scene. I go through this box. Seth thinks I'm done, but I'm still alive, and I make it to this thing to hit this fire alarm, which I do to finish the scene. However, what happens is I hit this box, dude, and I just bounce off that fucker.
Right.
Hit the concrete. which there is nothing. It's just concrete. Slam into the boxes that were used in the Raiders of the Lost Ark
Yeah.
boat scene.
Yeah.
The boxes that had the fucking Nazi insignias
Right,
on
they
them
had the Nazi, yeah.
from the
Movie props.
actual actual Raiders of the Lost
The
Ark.
actual movie props from that. Yeah.
Austin
from the
perked
Indiana
up
Jones.
at Nazi insignia being
Yeah,
mentioned.
look at
did,
him.
yeah.
He's freaking master race over there.
Exactly.
8-inch cock guy. So I slam into
Hitler
these
brought it
boxes,
into them.
and then I finish the scene, and then I hit the thing, and I roll over, and I just yell medic, because one of the
I've always wanted to do that.
yeah,
Wow.
one of the corners of the
He yelled
box
medic, dude.
punctured my shoulder.
Yeah, he was bleeding. You
Like,
could see the blood.
punctured my shoulder.
Yeah.
The glass is stuck all up in my body because I landed on the concrete and rolled who knows how far on the concrete. Because I mean, I was at a full dead run when I launched myself, and instead of falling through the box like I'm supposed to onto the soft stuff, I just bounced off it and landed on the concrete and just kept sliding. So this is all, they're following me with the camera. Nobody yells cut. Oh fuck, we've messed up.
they loved it,
They
kinda.
just kept rolling.
Yeah.
And when I finish and I hit the thing, boom, I roll over, I yell medic. Everybody's freaking out. Like this is the greatest thing they've ever seen.
Dude,
and
yeah,
I'm
you got
on
a
the
standing
ground.
ovation on set, which I've never seen before. I mean, I haven't been on a terrible amount of sets, but it was a pretty fucking awesome moment. Like everybody on set, like the makeup lady's just like, that was awesome. But yeah, it was cool.
So, Marlon, how much dough do you pull in for a stunt like that?
That was a 2-3 day shoot. That was non-union, and that paid me a total of $6,500 after everybody took everything and taxes were gone and all that was done.
yeah, look at the same, man.
That's good pay.
It's good pay. Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like
Now,
you probably got off a lot easier than he did.
if you were a SAG if it was SAG,
Yeah.
that stunt would have probably netted
50,
just
60.
yeah, exactly.
50 or 60,000.
Yeah, it would have been fucking nice if he was SAG.
Have you pulled a gig like that before? 50, 60,000?
Yeah, you know what? I shot two.
Dude,
I
you've got
shot
some legendary
two SAG shoots for DirecTV and for Under Armour. So those are two of the biggest names you're going to shoot for, and they were both union. So
Nice.
this one though, to finish this one out, after it was all over, the director he's like, come over here to Production City. You got to see this. You got to fucking see this. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm like walking over. It didn't work. We didn't do it. The box didn't break. He's like, it's great that it didn't. Look at this. And you can see like my body folds and the
Sick.
look
You
on
can
my
watch
face.
it
I'm
on
like,
YouTube. Yeah.
and I hit the
It's
ground.
on YouTube somewhere. Yeah.
Walk over, hit the thing, and it's over. The fucking nerve of this guy, this stunt coordinator. He walks over to me, puts his arm around me, and he's like, "Man, you're off center, bro. Yeah, you're off
You
center.
saying
so
you're off center? Just
you're
cover
off-
his ass. Just
you-
to cover his ass.
You were off center, and that's why the box didn't break.
He's
I'm
just
really,
covering his
really
ass,
sorry."
bro.
And I said to him, I just saw the video. They just showed it to me. Dude, I land dead center. That's why everybody's cheering right here. What are you
Right.
talking about? He's like, yeah, well, it didn't break, and that's why. So I go, okay. And I walk back to my trailer after the medic looks at my shoulder. My shoulder is it's fucked for 2 months. It hurts so bad. It's just like the mobility, everything about it. It's hurt. I got a big scar there. And like I walk back to the trailer, I'm sitting there in makeup and I've got like a concussion and my body is just hurt. And I'm telling them about what happened. I was like, yeah, and it was supposed to be a cut or whatever, and the box was supposed to break, and it didn't. And I look over, and Hugh's standing at the front of the entrance, right? And he goes, hey, I just want to tell you, I'm just as pissed as you are, all right? I went over to the guy who scored the box,
Yeah.
like a tough guy, like he had my back or something. And I went over to him, and I said, hey, man, why didn't the box break? And he said, Hugh, you know what? I'm really sorry. I thought you wanted a side impact.
Oh my.
So he cut it for a side impact. Can you believe that?
Oh my god. I never even heard that.
So I
part
said
of
to
it.
him, so you mean I wasn't off center?
Yeah, exactly.
I hit the box?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you did, man. They love it. Awesome job.
dude.
Thanks for
Hey,
that.
stunts is a fucking gnarly world.
I'm
Nobody
gonna
knows
take
about.
something from this Hugh guy. Whenever Austin lets a mic drop out, I'm just not gonna pay him for the day.
Yeah.
Sorry, man.
There
Sorry,
you go.
bro. That's your air. I can't.
Hey,
do it.
buddy, you fucked up.
Yeah. So
Nah,
you
but it was-
fast forward 2 days to my post on Facebook. I'm talking. I took a picture of me and Seth and Leo, and I'm in the middle of these two giants, and I'm bragging about what a great job we did. And I get a private message from Hugh
Hugh.
Dowd O'Brien.
Oh God.
And he says on his message, "You said you helped choreograph the fight." And I said, "Yeah,
You did.
because I did."
Right.
And he said, "Did you get paid to be the choreographer on the event?" And I said, "No, I didn't." He said, "Did you get billing for choreography for the?" And he's treating me like I'm a 12-year-old. And I'm like, "No, I didn't." And he's like, "Well, then you take that message down,
What
or
the
I will,
fuck?
or I will report you to the guild."
He was a
And I
dick,
was
dude?
like, "What about the box that didn't break in the hole in my shoulder that
Yeah.
I didn't report?"
Right.
And he's like, "Take it down now if you want to work in LA again."
What a fucking asshole, bro.
Can you believe that?
Dude, I've heard so many stories
How do
about
these monsters get into positions of power?
Dude,
what I
being
wanna
a
know.
stunt coordinator like that, I mean, he probably was a grunt for so many years. Hugh's actually kind of a legend. He worked on Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean.
Pirates of the Caribbean was the
Pirates-
first three were his job.
His job, bro. He had the most legendary job. Listen to this: 4 years in the Bahamas at a five-star hotel, and you're getting paid $1,200 a day to hang out in the Bahamas. Usually, do nothing all day. One little stunt, sword fight.
Yep.
Maybe have a couple of guys swing, on the ship, whatnot. 4 years in the Bahamas. So he'd come, he'd probably work 250 days. They'd probably have like 100 days off. So he'd work 250 days, go home for 100 days.
250 fucking grand.
250
So,
grand, yeah.
What I'm trying to understand is, how do you get into this stunt business? Because Leo is a college baseball player.
Yeah.
Marlon's a sommelier
Yeah.
and MMA fighter. Clearly, you guys have skills that
Yeah.
would make you solid candidates to be stuntmen. But is a lot of it just willingness to take pain?
It's willingness to take pain. I mean, you could probably attest to this, but it's kind of who you know. I mean, how did you get in? I was in that stunt show Waterworld was my way in, but how did you get in?
Yeah, and by the way, like Leo is what we would call a working stuntman because his job is a daily stunt show where it's choreographed and it's rehearsed, but I mean, we're talking about 30, 40-foot falls into water. There's great athleticism involved, and it's a daily occurrence that he does multiple times in a day when he's working. So he's a working stuntman. What he does,
He was.
I was. Yeah, I'm no
Until
longer
he was
there.
cleared for sexual harassment.
Yeah. I'm no longer there.
And he forgot that on top of all the falls and the swimming, he was also collecting 18-year-old college
I was
girls'
banging
phone
a lot
numbers.
of girls in the park, and it ended up backfiring on me. But that's
they
neither
wanted the
here nor
pirate
there.
adventure.
Exactly. But how did you get into it? I mean, obviously, a guy with your talent is like you're going to be in the top 1% of guys in the industry as far as like fight skills and all that shit, right? Already.
Yeah, the UFC was a great door to other things. Unfortunately, 2007 when I was in it 13 years ago may not seem like a long time, but so much has changed.
Of course.
In the 13 years.
Has it though, Marlon? You look
Yeah.
at the bottom of the fighter pay, it's still fucking $6 grand to
still
show,
terrible.
$6 grand to win.
Yeah, it's
so
still terrible.
There are fighters fighting 3 times a year, potentially making $18,000 that year.
Yeah.
And I mean, you lose 2 fucking fights, you win a fight and it's boring, you're liable to get cut from the UFC.
Wow.
Talk about Hugh, a controlling asshole. I love Dana White. I think he's hilarious. I mean, that guy's a fucking mob boss. Dude.
He's a mob boss. Bro.
Dude.
I mean, you have 7 fights in the UFC, so you know what's up, man.
Look, Dana White, it is well known that on the internet and for the first 3 years after I got out of The Ultimate Fighter, Dana White and I had an online war. He was posting pictures of me in my Halloween outfits and and calling me out for
Wait, what kind of Halloween outfit was it?
I dressed. Okay, so one year as Helga von Strassenhausen, female women's bodybuilding champion from Brussels.
Yes,
and
dude.
I was very strong for a woman, so I had bikini, and my eyelashes were very fucked up, and so was my fingernails. But I have
Holy
pictures
shit, dude.
I have pictures on the Facebook of me in my bikini.
Your name's Helga, right?
Helga von Strassenhausen.
Helga, how much would it cost for me to shit on your chest?
Oh no shitting on chest.
Oh,
No,
the Germans
only
love that.
in the face, on the mouth. Yes.
I don't have to use saran wrap, do I? I can just go raw dog on your
Saran wrap,
eyeball.
dude?
No,
Oh my God.
Depending on what you eat, Helga likes everything.
Okay, I can give you 500 euros.
So Dana, 500.
Yeah,
Wow, I
500.
retire. I retire, move to South America. There.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would pay you in francs, but
I got pictures of Helga, but I did fucked up lipstick and I painted my fingernails and I put a bikini on.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything stuffed in the bra, but I was fighting and I was 190 pounds, so I filled the bra up nicely anyways.
Yeah.
And he thought that was something that the rest of the world should see, and he made, he'd be like, look, Marlon, who I kicked out of the UFC, is dressed as a woman. It was Halloween in San Francisco.
And also,
it was
guys,
fun
we should
and
probably say,
creative.
Marlon, that after that brawl in the house, which I'm sure all the producers and Dana White were masturbating to.
It was huge.
They
Huge
couldn't
for the
believe
UFC.
what this was going to do for the fucking ratings.
Huge for the
Dana
UFC.
has the audacity to come in and kick you, Noah, and that fucking lobster chef guy.
Monster
who was
Lobster.
like, there was like a guy who was a fucking career
Monster
lobster
Lobster.
who was inciting the entire fight. Like, are you ready, Marlon? Are you ready, Noah? So they kicked those three out. That's what Marlon's talking about when he says that Dana kicked him out of the UFC. A
fucking piece of
complete
shit,
hypocritical
dude.
move.
Yeah,
Hypocritical
Lobster was from New England, and he actually owned a lobster shack, and his nickname was actually Monster Lobster.
And he wore like lobster hats and lobster shoes and like lobster.
And that's how
like
he
that
talked.
was his fucking thing.
Lobster,
Jesus.
Monster Lobster.
Yeah.
So the fight, getting kicked out, all that good stuff. He's the biggest hypocrite in the world, because here's what happened, and here's what nobody out there knows about season 5 of The Ultimate Fighter. TJ Dillashaw knows. He came up to me.
I know TJ.
He came up to me at the Hendricks St. Pierre fight. Walked right past my best friend Jeremy Piven, who was standing right next to me. Walked up to me, gave me a big hug, because he was season 7, right? Walks up, and he's like, "Look, man, I know you don't get enough credit for this, but I know what you did, and I got to thank you, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you." And what he's talking about there is that episode of The Ultimate Fighter was going to be one of the last 2 episodes ever filmed. They had lost ratings to the point where they were only getting 300,000 views an episode, because Gabe Rudiger got an enema and didn't make weight, didn't fight. And back then, the fans were so hardcore that they're like, "What is this? Excuse me, my French. What is this gay shit?" I know that's not PC, but back
don't
Say
worry about
anything
that,
you want on this,
Hey,
man.
Leo.
back then.
You're a fucking homo.
Yeah, well, you're a faggot, Danny.
Yes.
See, we
See
can say
that?
anything
See
we want
this
over here,
moment?
buddy. And these boys will love you for it. So
love it.
It
All
goes
right.
without saying our producer's a queer. So
yeah, he's obviously
don't censor
gay,
yourself.
so it's fun.
And for those of you out there, if you don't know, I feel like Leo is the kind of massive man who could make it all happen if he wanted to. It's like, who's going to stop this guy? He's
right.
a fucking giant.
right,
Except
dude.
for me, because I can run through glass walls.
That's right,
Yeah.
dude.
Anybody
myself,
with
I don't
any
care.
sparring matches in any combat
such a
sport will
son of
beat
a
Leo.
bitch,
You're
dude.
gonna
unfortunately.
take Leo.
You're such
Yeah.
a son of
So
a
it's
bitch. I have no fight experience. Whatever. I grew up and my parents cared about me.
It's
What can you
a
do?
running joke on the show that he used to box, but he never sparred. Marlon, what were you saying?
So
I'm curious
when
about.
when they kicked me out.
And I remember that. I mean, the Ultimate Fighter, the UFC in general, just used to be way more star-studded than it is now. Like the run-of-the-mill guys, Chris Lieben, Josh Koscheck, those guys were entertainers as much as they were fighters.
Yep.
I mean, Chris Lieben would black out the night before his fight and get arrested in Vegas.
That's hilarious.
Koscheck was an asshole. Nowadays, nobody speaks English, or it's just a dude, like I said earlier, who's on his wheatgrass enema and is fucking training 6 months out from his fight. But I remember the couple seasons before, there was the comeback one that was pretty weak with Matt Hughes. The Tito Ortiz, Frank Shamrock one, or Ken Shamrock one was decent. But that's interesting that you say they were going to axe the program.
So the exact reason why, because that H.C. Scott and Company owned Spike back then. That was their production company that was running the Ultimate Fighter.
Spike TV, yeah.
So I had to go down to Wilshire on H.C. Scott. I had to go in there, fill out my paperwork. When it was all said and done, I was hired in Miami for the show after 15,000 people went in, and then 5,000 people showed up for tryouts. It was the last 16. Yada yada yada. We do the show. I get kicked out. The executive producer, as they're taking me to the airport, and Lobster's with me in the car. Lobster's in the car with me, and this is a whole thing that I talked about with Bloody Elbow a few years back when they interviewed me. The things behind the scenes that nobody knows about. So they call me up and they say, "Just so you know, You're getting a $13,500 bonus check, and that's being mailed to you right away. Yes, Dana kicked you out of the show, but that's because Burger King was going to drop their sponsorship, and we can't lose Burger King sponsorship because back then Burger King was one of their 3 top sponsors.
Yep.
Big logo in the middle of the fucking cage. You'd see it every time somebody fought. So they said, they don't like that look. We got to kick you out, but we're bringing you back. You're going to fight Noah in the finale. We're going to use you for this next 3 months, and you're going to promo this shit, and you're going to work, this is going to be the best, because here's what happened. We were canceled 4 episodes ago. We were getting 300,000 views per episode. After Gabe was getting enemas and couldn't fight, we lost so many views that we lost everything, and we were shut down. What you did yesterday brought in 3.5 million views. Wow. And we got a new contract.
Fuck. I need to bring Marlon in to do that for my channel right now.
The first thing I said to him was,
I got goosebumps here because I remember that phone call. I mean, and I knew that it wasn't the end for me. Right. I knew that the only thing anybody wanted to see in that finale was me fight Noah. They didn't give a fuck who won. Right. They didn't give a shit about anything else. The world wanted to see Marlon Sims versus Noah Thomas. Right. And they played the shit out of that up until the week before the fights, when Joe Silva called me up and said, "Hey, buddy, how you feeling?" I said, "Man, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to tear this fucker's head off. This is going to be the greatest fight ever. You guys are going to love this. I'm going to get a contract." "Yeah, buddy, I'm really sorry, but we're not going to let you fight. You're still going to get paid. You fulfilled your end of the bargain. You're going to get your show money, which was $7,500.
Jesus Christ.
And we're going to let you go." So yes, I made a $13,500 bonus, and I saved the Ultimate Fighter franchise. Right. I saved the Ultimate Fighter franchise. Very few people know that. If they did know, would they believe me?
I didn't know it.
Yeah, would they believe me or would they care? It doesn't matter. The people who fought on the show after that know why they got to fight on the show.
In Marlon, is it still going on? There have been 22, 25,
30.
It's still going on now.
30.
And after you
30
guys,
plus 33.
I'm trying to think what was worth the shit after you guys, because like I said, the UFC just everybody wanted to be the next fucking Anderson Silva, the next GSP. It got so serious. I remember that Junie Browning guy.
Junie Browning
got in a fight with Ryan Bader. That was entertaining.
But they didn't fight. There were no fists thrown. That's the thing. The only actual fight that has ever been on that show, the only physical confrontation where people assaulted each other. There's been people who have been pushed. Yeah. There's been wrestling matches. But the only fight that ever happened was that fight that I had against Noah Thomas. That's it. It's never happened. Never happened since.
Marlon Sims,
hey,
guys.
What about this? What if we somehow arranged a bout between Marlon and Noah Thomas?
God, that would be a dream.
And then we had a post-fight dinner at Monster Lobster's place in New England.
Fuck.
Would you be into that, Marlon?
Marlon, would you fight him?
This be a dream come true, guys.
That guy, Danny Mullen channel's got to make this.
Danny, we can make that happen.
I think we can.
We can make that happen. Possibly.
So
I'll tell you what, we have 500,000 views guaranteed.
Or what if he fought Andy Wang, another Ultimate Fighter hero?
You guys, my retirement fight 10 years ago in Hawaii. I think the actual title of the organization was the UFC, but it was, it wasn't the Ultimate Fighting Championship. It was the Undeniable Fighting Championship. Some stupid promotion on Hilo. It was the first promotion on Hilo that BJ Penn didn't put on. And I fought this kid named Chris Cisneros. I was 3-2. He was 16-5.
Okay.
He's a roided out fucking 215-pound monster.
Jesus.
And I know that because he and his camp at the end of the fight asked me what steroids I was on. And when I said, I get tested, right? And they said, "No, we're in Hawaii. There's no testing." I realized, okay, I'm never fighting in Hawaii again. But Andy Wang and I were the main event for that. Because he's from Hawaii. He's in Hawaii.
Andy Wang, I'm just going to set the stage here a little bit. He went on the Ultimate Fighter, and the entire lead up to the fight, he's like, "Man, when I get out there, I just want people to know I'm a warrior. That I left it all. I want to embody the tradition of the samurai." He lost a unanimous decision. And he cried like a fucking baby for 20 minutes after the fight.
And he didn't do anything.
Was that your season too,
Yeah,
Marlon? I forgot that was your season. That was the best season.
He got kicked out of BJ Penn's team, and he was going to have to go home. And you know what we did? The Pulver team, we said, "You don't have to go home. You come over and be a Pulver teammate." And we took him onto our team. He wore a yellow jersey after that. And he was one of us. Yeah. BJ Penn's a cocksucker. He's a dick. If you don't know, he's a fucking dick.
He's a scumbag.
I had to do all the press junkets with him, and all of the show holds that he was supposed to put me in for the press junket. He just would like, okay, put Marlon in a rear naked choke. Motherfucker would put me in a rear naked choke for a press junket, and I'd be like,
He's a
with
cokehead,
this
huh?
boa constrictor. I don't know what head he is, but I know that after I got kicked out of the show the next week, Dana gave everybody in the house and the coaches $1,000 and a limo and took them out on the town. And I know there were party favors involved for sure.
Don't
Whatever
worry,
they wanted.
Don't worry about libel, slander, or any of that stuff.
Oh no, I don't.
BJ Penn, because I know Uriah Faber very well, and Uriah Faber used to go out there with BJ all the time to
Ryan
train.
and I did 3 shows together. Malice at the Cow Palace
Fuck yeah, man.
was our first show together. The first ever cage fights in California.
Was it King of the
IFC
Cage
and
or was
Arco.
it Indian shit?
That was Malice at the Cow Palace was Gladiator Challenge.
Okay.
Scott Carnes. I don't know if you remember Scott Carnes.
I remember Gladiator Challenge, King of the Cage. I never went to any of the shows. I never fought in those organizations. I've never fought MMA professionally at all.
Gladiator Challenge is one of the biggest North American shows there was. They did indie casinos, but then as soon as it was legalized, they were doing Kezar Pavilion, and they did the Cow Palace as their first show. Cow Palace seats 20,000 people. I mean, it's a massive, massive seat. They got 12,000 people in there for those fights. Second ever cage fights in California. Uriah was the main event. Brian Ebersol was co-main event. I was third off main event.
Who was Faber fighting?
Faber fought some kid from Idaho who was some badass. He was like 13-1, and Uriah split him open with an elbow and got a referee stoppage, like he did for half of his fights back then. But yeah, we fought on a bunch of shows. The first ever cage fights legalized in California. I was co-main event against Ryan Jensen. I was 1-0. That was my second ever cage fight. And that was in front of 15,000 people where the Kings play basketball. And that was the IFC, International Cage Fighting Association.
Where the Kings play basketball? Arco Arena?
Yeah.
Fuck. I think Dustin Akbari fought on that show too. I don't know if you know Dustin Akbari.
Yeah.
He's a
Akbari was I fought after Akbari.
Yeah, Akbari's a buddy
The
of
main
mine.
events were teammates, Ryan Jensen, and guess who the other guy was? Jake Ellenberger, the Juggernaut.
Yeah, so he started his MMA career earlier.
Those were huge. Dude, that fight card, Jake Ellenberger fought 22 times in the UFC.
Yeah,
Ryan Jensen
successful.
fought 12 times in the UFC, another 10 times in Strikeforce.
Yeah.
I weighed 174 pounds for that fight. He weighed 217 pounds for that fight. He's 6'2", I'm 5'10".
That's how MMA used to go, dude.
Yep.
Because back in those days of MMA, it was so small, there weren't enough fighters to fill out the bantamweight, the flyweight.
Yep.
So if you didn't walk around at 185, 190 to cut to welterweight, you're still fighting those guys.
Holy shit.
Uriah Faber would fight. Was there even a 155 during that time, or was Uriah Faber fighting at 170?
There was a 155 at that time. It was in the WEC.
Yeah.
He was fighting 45 in the WEC at that time. He was a 45er in WEC. WEC was the only guys that went below 55.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Ebersol fought 180. He was middleweight at 185. So the Cow Palace was a huge show, and that was one of my fantastic wins. 28-second first round flying knee knockout of Felix Garcia, retired.
Do you mind
him.
demonstrating what that is on our producer, Austin?
Absolutely.
On Austin, dude.
And I want you to go the same speed you went when you dove through that crate.
when I did that, yeah. So I got a story about the Ultimate Fighter, just to like tell you about how a lot of the fighters are, because this sticks in my craw, and I always like to talk about this, because I don't know if you remember Emerson, Rob
Emerson, yeah.
So he was on my season, right?
Yeah.
So this dude's LA pretty boy,
yeah,
and he was badass kickboxer, had a good record. Fought Nate, and Nate just dominated him because everybody was just scared of Nate, just because of his aura.
Yeah.
People were like, "Oh my god, I'm scared of him." I sparred with him every day. We bloodied each other on a daily basis. Nate Diaz could not submit me. He could not keep me off of him. And the day I got injured, which kept me from training the entire time I was on the Ultimate Fighter, and I don't know if we should probably talk about that too, because that was skipped over and edited out of the Ultimate Fighter. But I did not get to train on the Ultimate Fighter. I went in against Wyman without a single day of training.
Is that Matt Wyman?
Yeah.
And that handsome Wyman?
The handsome man who was one of the UFC veterans on the show already.
Yeah. He choked out my roommate Justin Buckles in a UFC fight. I don't know if you remember Justin Buckles.
I do.
Yeah.
I remember that fight. I called him out. I wanted him. He was the toughest guy on the show, and I was the people the kind of the dark horse nobody knew about. Dana knew that I hit hard, I kicked hard, and I was bigger than everybody. So he's like, that's going to be a good fight. So I'll come back to this. The Ultimate Fighter was 3 months, right? And we fought every week. And this was the first season where if you lost, you didn't get kicked out, right? You stayed in the house. And that in that case, if somebody was injured, you could come back and you could fight again. So everybody was still in the house. There were teammates outside of that show that nobody knew about. Like nobody knew that Wyman was teammates with one of the other competitors on the show. Well, all of a sudden I can't remember his name. Oh my God, why can't I remember his name? Tall, lanky kid.
Cole Miller?
Cole Miller, thank you. So Cole Miller and Wyman are roommates. I am teammates with Miller. I haven't been able to train and spar anybody. So we're the team's together. And I got our team together. Every time they'd fight, I'd cook them their dream meal after they made weight. And we put together a game plan.
Was Monster Lobster in on that cooking session?
He was the opposite team.
Oh, no, I can't.
And the only thing that dude could cook was lobster.
Really?
He's limited.
Literally, the only thing he could cook was lobster.
Only lobster.
That's it.
We got to meet Monster Lobster.
Well, this guy sounds amazing.
You know what? He's my friend on Facebook. Let's send him a message.
Let's send him a message.
Let's hit him up.
That's a video. Having these two guys meet up, dude, that would be fucking
I would love
classic.
it, dude.
Look,
that'd be
if
amazing.
you can make the fight between me and Noah happen, every organization in the
be
country tried to
unreal.
make it happen. He moved weight classes so he didn't have to fight me ever again.
That
Because he knew
motherfucker.
that I just wanted to maul him like a fucking rabid Wolverine. Wanted to maul that little fucker.
Yeah.
We'd have to
Legally
give him money,
maul
huh?
him.
Yeah.
We'd have to
Not
give him some
wasted.
money.
Just sit on top of him, just like as I rain fists upon him.
We might have to trick him into it. Like,
Yeah.
say it's going to be a headgear and 16-ounce
Just
gloves.
tell him
change the rules of the
Tell him
last
I'm
night.
47 now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm a
you look
47-year-old
great,
man.
brother.
He's
You look
30.
great.
Okay,
I didn't know that you
cool.
were
Let's
47.
fight. You
Wow,
know?
you look great.
Marlon, what were you saying about the show, though? Where were you going with your...
Yes. So the show was we were given specific rules, and I asked every time what would get us kicked out of the house and what wouldn't get us kicked out of the house. So the only thing that would get you kicked out of the house was if you jumped the fence or you talked to a news agency. And I asked every day at the production meeting, because we had production meetings every day, because I knew I was going to fight somebody in that house. If I get in a fight in this house, are you guys going to kick me out? No.
Wow.
You will not be kicked out. Not only that, we encourage it. And if you guys want to, so be it. You're all professional adults here.
Wow.
God damn it. I got to have that attitude in our squad. We got to start encouraging
right?
Yeah,
fights.
why not, dude? Fuck it.
So that
Well,
is
Nico, you know.
so that is something that's on my mind the whole time. And when I fought, I even put my hands in my pocket. I closed my eyes so I would get hit first, so I could defend myself, so I could legally have an out. I'm defending myself. I
Yeah.
did not assault this man.
Yeah.
Verbally, I can say whatever I want, you know, and it's not. I'm not punching him, not kicking him. I'm defending myself once he does it to me. So they lie to you. They tell you what they can to get drama out of you,
Of course.
and then they use that, and then they toss you to the side. That's reality television,
Yeah.
Yep.
right? So that is what you're signing up for when you go to the Ultimate Fighter. You are signing up to be betrayed, you know, to be lied to, and you're looking to attain some kind of fame or notoriety to make more money in the fighting art.
Right.
Then they just cast you aside, huh?
And then and then that's it. And you're done. Your contracts are not really contracts because you have no right.
Yeah.
At any point, they can terminate your contract. Win, lose, or draw. It doesn't matter.
And Marlon, that actually reminds me, Austin, you're fucking fired, dude.
Get the fuck out of here.
No more Venmo payments.
I knew that was coming. So I'm going into this as a team. I'm a teammate. I'm a team player. I make friends and I treat my friends with respect, and I do whatever I can for them. I help them as much as I can. I give a lot to people, and that's what I do now. I help people. I give to people. When that show was taking place, people are plotting. It's a game show. They're plotting. They're trying to figure out how to win. I wasn't trying to figure out how to win. I was there for the experience, and I just wanted to test myself. Well, Cole Miller and Matt Wyman are buddies, and they train together at AKA of Georgia. I did not know that. We're putting together my game plan for Wyman I wasn't able to spar anybody. The last person I sparred was Nate 5 days into the show, and that's when I got injured and I had stitches in my head and I couldn't train for the entire time. I got my stitches out the morning I fought Wyman. Stitches were from here to here, right?
Jesus.
They showed it in the preview of the show when the show first started. It never gets mentioned again. I'm laying on my back with my hand on my head. My hand pulls away, blood squirts out of my head, and I yell, "Fuck!" And that's all you see. And this was before the show even came out. This is what you're gonna see on this season of The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah. Right.
And then a dude's back fighting a dude, knocking a dude out, kicking him in the face. Yeah. Which, as we saw in the video, was me knocking Noah out. So they used me to promote everything.
Right.
Now, when I fought Wyman, I said to Jens, he's a shooter. He's very aggressive. I'm going to throw a straight right cross that'll set up his shot or a counter, and we'll go from there. And I'll just work through it. I'm stronger than him. I'm bigger than him. I'm not afraid of him. You know, Nate says I can't submit him, so I know he's not going to submit me. I feel good about this fight. And I didn't know this until I'm in the car going to the airport with Monster Lobster. This conversation takes place right after I get the phone call from Spike saying, "Hey, guess what? You saved the franchise. You're getting this bonus of $13,500, you know, jack off, whatever."
Yeah.
So I'm sitting in this truck and I'm reminiscing with Lobster. I'm like, my fight with Wyman was crazy, man, because it was like his reactions were so...
Can you tell, for people who don't know, what happened in that fight with Wyman?
Yeah, so, you know, they make a big deal about it. I'm 33 years old on the show, right? I'm older than everybody by a long shot, and I had been working for 14 years to get to the show. It's my dream. And, you know, they even subtitle people in the audience who are like, 14 years, yeah, you did it, you know, for the drama. Sure. Because this fight is, you know, it's the last fight before the semifinals, and it's the big dogs, right? So we put together this game plan, and I walk out into the middle of the cage to fight Matt Wyman. Big John McCarthy is the referee. You know, another dream come true. Every fighter wants to have Big John say, "Are you ready? Are you ready?"
I would want to have Kim Winslow be my referee.
Kim Winslow, yes. What happened to Kim Winslow? She disappeared off the face of the earth.
Did she? That just
man, she
this
doesn't. Yeah.
cadaverous lesbian lady.
Really?
Who looks like she could get a job in a haunted house as one of the witches.
Yeah,
No
you know,
way.
like what happened to her? Who fuck knows?
She probably couldn't pull off somebody who was pummeling an unconscious fighter.
No,
and
not at all.
They fired her from the California State Athletic Commission.
She couldn't move fast enough in the cage to save anybody.
Jesus.
But yeah, so you know, I'm sitting there and they say go, and I know my game plan. And there's literally, for what I have planned, there is one counter. That's it, one counter. And you got to sit around with people and you got to think about that counter. And you got to come up with that counter. So hence my shock and my disbelief is at what happened, and I'll come full circle here in a minute. But the bell rings and I stand in front of Wyman, and he's supposed to, you know, I've studied his film. I know what he does. I know every fight he's had. He comes forward. He presses. So I take the middle of the cage, and he just stands in front of me looking at me. And there's like 3 or 4 seconds, because the fight's only 50 seconds long.
Right.
He's just standing there looking at me. I'm like, this motherfucker, in my head, I don't know how long, you know, in my brain I'm thinking. It feels like I'm thinking for minutes and minutes. I'm going, why isn't he doing anything? What's happening? Okay, well, I'm just going to throw the shot. I throw the right, and he counters with the most perfect overhand, you know, because it's the only way to slip offline from a cross and land a knockout blow, right? Well, even though he was standing there and he threw that counter, I still landed. I still put 8 stitches under his eyeball, which you'll see the next week for his Nate Diaz fight. They let him fight because it was a semifinal, and he was so gun shy he got his ass kicked. Nate beat the shit out of him, but that was because I cut him under his eyeball from my cross.
Oh, shit.
He lands the right. I flash go unconscious, wake up on one knee with him coming around my neck. Now, I fought a million rear naked chokes in my time, and I'm just going to say something really quick. BJ Penn was known for greasing back in the day. This is something you can look up on the internet.
Putting Vaseline all over his body in the corner so that he was slippery, nobody could get a hold of him and grapple him effectively.
Yes.
GSP was accused of it too.
Yes.
Wow.
So this arm goes under my neck, and I grab it, and it is so fucking greased. You would not believe. I go unconscious. That's what I'm famous for. I don't tap. Okay. I go unconscious. I go unconscious fighting because I'm sitting there. I'm going, wait, I can't grab. No, this is fucked. This is so greasy. How can I not grab this guy's arm?
Right.
And then I wake up and Big John's standing over me. Everybody's celebrating. The fight's over.
God
so
damn
let's fast forward now. I'm in the car with Lobster. I just got kicked out of the show. Night before, I was in this fight with Noah. And, Lobster's like, well, it was an experience. And I'm like, I just can't get over this, bro. It's just, I can't believe how good Wyman is. I mean, good for him, man. That was amazing. The timing of that overhand, I replay it over and over in my head, and if I just was a second sooner, I would have landed more flush and it wouldn't have been a cut. It would have been a straight up knockout. And he's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, what are you talking about, man? And finally he says, bro, you don't know what happened? Nobody told you? And I say, what are you talking about? No, I don't know what happened. He's like, dude, Cole Miller and Wyman are teammates at AKA in Georgia. We developed your game plan. You know what he did? It's on video. He walks right into the room and he told Wyman what your game plan is. And then they fucking practiced that exact move that he knocked you out with.
That's fucking terrible, dude.
How, God,
that's
13 years ago. Yeah. And it's something that I will never, ever, ever, ever get to have leave my memory. And that was it. That was like my career in the UFC was just one of just treachery and deceit and lies. And that was it. And I was by everybody from players to and it's my own fault. It's nobody's fault. And you live and you learn. But I was there because I thought it was going to be talent that won that show.
It was fucked up.
But it was a game show, and I didn't play it like a game show. Right. So that's my bad. That's my bad. And I, for 13 years, I've got to pay the price for that. So yeah, going back to the SAG, the stunt stuff. My in was the UFC. I didn't call anybody. I didn't talk to anybody. An agency called me up, said, hey, look, we saw you on TV. Would you be willing to come down to Los Angeles and work for us? And I said, well, I just moved here because my dad just died in my arms and I made him a promise and his anniversary was the 29th of September last week. So I go through that every year. But my dad was my hero. He died in my arms in 2010, September 29th. And I made him a promise that I was going to follow in his footsteps. My dad was a Marlboro man, a Hollywood tough guy in a film nominated for Academy Awards. He's got over 50 credits. He was my hero.
It's a man,
and he got to watch me fight and he got to watch me, do what I do at the highest level. And I'm so glad he got to see that while he was around.
Dude,
but when I came down to LA, they called me up and I was just really blessed to have that experience and that opportunity and to be on TV. And somebody saw that and said, we think you probably have talent besides. Come and meet with us. And I went and met with this agency called Pacific Talent. They're down in Manhattan Beach. And I got 17 credits with them in 4 years of working.
Phenomenal.
Like, I worked a lot. I auditioned 137 times one year. That's a
crazy.
Blessing, dude. That's crazy. And the fighting is a thing, but I used to race professional motorcycles in the IFM, and currently, I have a 200 mile an hour, 200 horsepower BMW motorcycle.
It's gnarly.
That I ride,
nice.
that I race professionally on track. I got
dude.
sponsorship for that. I got a truck that I haul it in. I play tennis. I play baseball. Leo's, I'm not the Leo's. He could have been at the highest level of baseball there is, but
and he can't even hold a candle to my
can't even hold a handle to you, right?
Yeah.
So I was just blessed to have different talents that kind of translate good to film, and I'm a choreographer. I've got 3 black belts, and one of my black belts is in Kempo, and that is an art that choreographs beautifully to television.
It does.
If you guys haven't seen The Perfect Weapon, starring Jeff Speakman, that was choreographed by Ed Parker, the greatest Kempo stylist in the world. He brought Bruce Lee to the Long Beach International Tournament in 1967 and is the father of American karate. He was my sensei. He developed the aesthetic part of my martial arts, which translates to film. And I've done some movies with choreography. I was the Geico motorcycle guy for 2 years. So if you guys, a lot of my friends have seen that and that ran. You can still see it on Geico and stuff.
You can still see it,
I've done things that my dad would be proud of. I did enough work to become a SAG actor, which was a dream come true. But then it was actually the biggest nightmare of my life, becoming a SAG actor. That ruined, I don't know, let's ask Leo how much you've been working since.
Dude, there's not a lot of work out there for
Right?
SAG. There's
Yeah.
no work.
Yeah.
And I
There's
don't think
quite a bit of work if you become a fag actor like Austin.
In the movie industry.
That's
adult
why.
film industry.
Yeah,
Over the hill in San Fernando, yeah.
Listen, and it'll be back. It'll be back. But what I have to say is you're unbelievably talented, and I was, I've been in the stunt industry for a while, or I was in it, and I can tell you, you're far more talented than any guy that I ever saw on set. That's why, you were so, vibrant in my memory, because you told some of these stories when I was on set, and I remember at lunchtime we all talked, and you had these great stories, and you're the man, dude. So thank you for coming on the pod, bro. You're fucking. I'm so happy that you.
It was great, Marlon.
Yeah, absolutely.
We were able to reminisce on my favorite series, The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, man.
Look, I've got hours and hours
I
more
know,
to
I
talk
can
about.
see
You
that,
guys
bro.
wanna get me back on here? We can.
Absolutely.
We didn't even get into the celebrity aspect of my life with JP.
It was JP, dude. Jeremy
Leah.
Piven, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Jeremy Piven.
I'm a
fan.
huge Jeremy Piven fan as well. Love to hear some of that. We might also have to dress you up like Helga, whatever her fucking name is again.
Helga Von
Parade you around Venice Beach.
Absolutely.
do that.
We definitely got to
that.
get more Marlon Sims on here. But hey, you guys should all follow Marlon Sims. What's your Insta handle? These kids will they're vibrant. They'll follow you on there, man.
Mr. Indestructible 99.
Mr. Indestructible 99, guys. Follow him on Instagram. Yeah.
Solid Crate
dude.
couldn't stop him.
Yeah.
A bottle of tequila didn't stop him. Noah Thomas's armbar couldn't stop
Couldn't
him.
stop him, dude. Hey.
Oh man, I'll tell you, it's what's going on with the pandemic and COVID. I know it's just changed the way everybody lives, but for a lot of us down here in LA that trying to chase our dreams,
That's right.
it's
on hold, bro.
it is a very strange, chaotic place to be without really knowing what's going to happen next. So I'm just a regular Joe working in a restaurant. I work in a restaurant in Beverly Hills full time to make money and work a normal job. I got a girlfriend who works 9 to 5.
Beautiful girlfriend.
You
might
just
I add, now.
the love of my life. Julia is the sweetest, most wonderful woman. I just blessed to have that. So great things have come from it, and everything's an experience. But the Ultimate Fighter was definitely was a make or break moment, and it broke me. And all I can say is that after that, it's just kind of been reinventing and trying to develop something new, because once you fight for the UFC, you go anywhere else, that you just can't make a living doing it. So it's not a possibility.
Yeah.
I got to come into your restaurant in Beverly Hills, man. That sounds sick.
Yeah, I would love to come in there too, man. You training people too? I mean,
Yeah, I turned my powers into healing. I'm a empath healer. I've got grandmothers with hip and spine surgeries, and old men with hip surgeries that have been through 24 PTs that I put my hands on, that I bring back to life, that makes me incredibly happy and fulfilled. I've got a kid with cerebral palsy who couldn't even walk 11 months ago, and now is a weapons expert.
Wow.
Is able to throw 20 punch, kick, knee combinations, and
Jesus.
has his nervous system back, and these and that, those kinds of things where you just get to help people and empower people and make people feel good.
That's right.
Helped a 78-year-old woman walk for the first time in 17 years. Her family wept when they saw her walk from bedroom to the kitchen, and you can't really replace that feeling.
That's right, man.
You think you could help a 20-year-old podcast producer be less of a shithead?
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
You can put your mitts on his scalp.
Hey,
and
Come on over here, son.
Come on over here.
I'm gonna show you something.
Hey, Marlon's he's got a great heart, man, and I've seen it, on his social media for years. But when I met him, I knew that I was gonna know him for a long time, because he's got a great heart. So. I appreciate you being on here, brother. It was
Thanks, Leo.
I was enthralled, just like I was on set, bro. You're a fucking enthralling guy, bro. You're an amazing guy, bro.
Leo's
so thank
awesome.
you.
We
Have
still
another
gotta hit
drink
the
and suck
cages,
his dick,
bro.
Leo.
We gotta hit the cages.
I gotta hit the
man.
cages, bro.
Fucking
Absolutely.
hit
Let's
the
go
cages.
let's get some bombs, bro. When they open up again, man, we got nothing going on.
I can't wait.
man.
I watched this. I watched Leo hit freaking 450-foot shots.
Watch
just
me hit
rockets.
475. Guy doesn't know how to play baseball.
Fucker, dude.
I
This
wanna see it.
motherfucker.
All right, guys.
Oh, you
That's
guys.
the pod.
That's the pod. Love you guys.
Love you guys.